I don't know why I keep putting my hands up like this, so I'm sorry if it's like that in the video, because I feel like I have something that I'm trying to say, and I'm not really sure what that thing is, so it's like my hands are trying to shape and form my idea into words. Hello and welcome back to another video. Today is Tuesday, May 22nd, and today I'm going to be talking about my mindfulness goal that I set for my psychology class. It's kind of like our final project thing because we needed to create a SMART goal that would better ourselves in some way. And if you're unaware, the acronym SMART just stands for specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely, so that you are more likely to actually reach your goal because you're planning it out. So what I did for mine was using mindfulness in order to reduce obsessive thinking, and because that was kind of too broad of a goal, I think my goal statement was more directed at like personal focus and raising my self-confidence. But you know, that was like my underlying goal. Like that's what I wanted to get out of it, is like less obsessive thinking or feeling or just attachments to things. I'm not sure whether this is actually considered mindfulness, because I kind of separated it more into, okay, I'm going to actually meditate for 10 minutes, and then also just having a general mindful mindset throughout the day. So the actual meditation that I practiced daily was, and I started out at 5 minutes, but increased 1 minute every 2 days until I got to 10 minutes to try to ease myself into it, even though, like, I don't feel like that really helped much, because it was already weird to try to sit there for 5 minutes, let alone 10, so like even like the little gaps were hard. But I mean, I'm not sure if I would have adjusted better if I would have just thrown myself into it, like, okay, 10 minutes, let's go. I feel like that would have actually been hell, so, you know, maybe it was a bit better that I tried, at least like I tried to ease myself into it, but I definitely feel like I could have done like 2 minutes and then worked my way up. Essentially, it was just a lot harder than I expected. And I chose my bathroom because I wanted like a fresh, clean kind of space. And I would just sit there for however much time it was that day and try to think about absolutely nothing. So it's more like mind emptiness rather than mindfulness. But I was being aware of the moment and trying not to think about like anything outside of the moment. And because I was just sitting on my bathroom floor, staring at my wall, I basically just had to think about nothing. I don't know if you've seen them before, but I got a Headspace meditation app ad on a YouTube video while I was watching it, and I'm like, hey, like I've seen some of these ones before, but I actually took in what it was saying. You're not trying to aggressively push away the thoughts, even though it might seem like that's kind of the goal. Like to not think about anything, and the harder you try not to think about anything, the more you think things, and then you try to push those thoughts out of the way, and it just becomes more chaotic and more difficult. But rather to like acknowledge the thoughts as they come and then gently push them away, which I definitely struggled doing that for like the first week or so, probably because like I was trying to like get out all the thoughts and I couldn't just sit there like with a blank mind no matter how hard I tried, and then I got really frustrated. I didn't use an app or any form of guided meditation because I felt that I didn't need it. That reason was that I had done guided visualizations before in anxiety therapy, CBT, whatever. So I figured if I was already good at that before, like I thought I was just like a natural, but I was only a natural because I'd actually practiced it and done it so much, so it was just really strange for me because I wasn't good at it. And I didn't like that I wasn't good at it, so then I got even more frustrated. And I wasn't even really looking at like a particular thing, just like my blue bathroom wall in front of me, and I would stare at it until I got into this kind of woozy, drowsy feeling. I don't really know how to describe it, from like breathing too heavily or not breathing enough, or I don't know. Everything feels sort of fuzzy, and that's kind of what I marked as being successful, which I don't really think is very accurate. I don't feel like it actually reduced my stress at all, because this is like really weird, but I feel like somehow I've forgotten how to deep breathe, and the more I try to deep breathe, the less I'm actually deep breathing, and I'm like chest breathing. I kind of focused on deep breathing, but like not counting deep breathing because that was considered a thought in my mind, I guess. So because of that, I couldn't really calm down, so my stress levels weren't really lowering, even though that was one of the things I was measuring. We need some form of data to represent our goals and whether or not we improved. It needs to be measurable or numeric in some way. So I kind of did little chart level things, some from 0 to 5, some from 1 to 5, and it was focused on mood, stress, and obsessiveness mostly. I will insert some of my data charts that I've turned those numbers into now. I did just want to briefly go over my goal data so you could understand what you're looking at here. The red line represents how I felt throughout the day, and the blue line is directly after meditation. And then near the bottom, you might be able to see the trend line that is slowly decreasing, so you can show that my stress levels actually did decrease over time, even though there is a lot of variation within the days. This one is my negative feelings, which also slightly decrease over time. My amount of obsessive thinking throughout the day. Lastly, the pie chart to pinpoint exactly what I need to work on. The left represents what I did well, and the right represents what obsessive behaviors I did less good with controlling. It was really weird because I'd think by breathing and actively doing something that is known to alleviate stress, which is mindfulness or meditation, but I just couldn't shake the tightness in my chest and throat. I just felt that anxiety feeling without actually having any anxiety, but I wasn't really lowering my stress any. Even though overall the data shows a decent differentiation. I think it went down a point overall. Right before I did the meditation practice, I would record my day, the mood, stress, and obsessiveness throughout my overall day, and then I would meditate, and then I would write about kind of how I felt afterwards and score myself and whatever. I did notice that every single time, or pretty much every time, right afterwards I felt better. My mood lifted, I felt happier. Even if I was dreading sitting on my bathroom floor for 10 minutes because it was a waste of time or whatever, I still felt good afterwards. And I guess you could say less stressed, but I didn't consider it less stressed because I still felt that tightness. More of a problem with how I interpreted it rather than alleviating the stress, which it probably did, but just not entirely to how I was measuring it. I did have my bathroom window open about probably 15 days in because it was starting to get warmer, and I like to have the breeze come in, so I would watch the clouds sometimes because yes, it would give me something to do, but technically I wasn't really thinking about anything. I was just taking it in for its beauty instead of my beautiful blue bathroom wall. I would recommend personally, if you are going to try doing what I did, which is not thinking about things, first of all, don't push all your thoughts out of the way, just kind of let them come and then gradually bring yourself back to the moment instead of trying to force it, because forcing it does not work. I had my eyes open, but I still had the light off, so it wasn't hard on my eyes and it was relaxing. Maybe choose your environment a bit better, or if not your environment, your focus into the all-day mindset. So mindfulness is the idea of being present in the moment. I had the things in mind that I didn't want to think about, so if I caught myself thinking about them, if you really want to be truly mindful, I would probably suggest eliminating distractions. Overall, it really did help me reduce my obsessive thinking or feelings or whatever, because instead of thinking about what I was stressed about and worrying about it, or just thinking about it to the point where I would get anxious, even if what I was thinking about wasn't directly causing the anxiety, but it was just messing up my brain space and my healthy thinking and feelings. Even if there wasn't a direct correlation, I don't think the data, the line graph, really shows it as much as I felt it. I can especially tell though with afterwards, since not doing it, I felt so much worse, which, I kind of hoped that would carry on and help me feel better later on after I stopped doing it, but really it was more just a snap back to reality, sinking back into my old thinking habits and self-deprecation. Okay, here's the thing. I don't want to continue because I know, like, I should, which is the stupidest thing ever. I think it's because I felt forced and, like, locked in. So my recommendation is if you're trying something like this, and you tend to have those feelings with things, like if you start a project and you feel like it's something that you absolutely have to finish, and you just really don't want to, I would suggest giving yourself some leeway, but not enough that you can completely abandon it. But also if you give yourself too much freedom, then you might just not do it at all because you don't have to, and you'll kind of dread doing it if you think you have to. So like I knew before that like I wanted to do it, but I didn't want to do it for the act of doing it. I wanted to do it to reduce the obsessive thinking. So if you can make it enjoyable in some way. So would I recommend mindfulness or meditation? Of course I would. Plus there are so many different types of meditation and even mindfulness to try. It's not just, trying to have a clear mind and stay in the moment. So the 4 categories of obsessions I kind of sorted it into so you can have like a better idea of what I'm talking about is relationship/attachment, schoolwork/completion, perfectionism/excessively pushing myself, and physicality or knees or walking. I mean, like this schoolwork, completion, perfectionism, pushing myself, like all that was kind of the same thing, but I felt like completion is more like getting things done and just trying to do everything, and perfectionism was like focused on one task exclusively. I hope this was helpful and somewhat insightful because I did a lot of research actually before on this to try to figure out how mindfulness could help with OCD or OCPD like I have, or obsessive thinking, and there was some evidence but nothing like super clear. So maybe this clarified some stuff for you if you were kind of looking for that. I would love if that were to happen, because making an actual change and impact would be fantastic. So feel free to let me know if this helped you or informed you in any sort of way. Thank you for watching. See you later. Bye. The ice cream truck gives me anxiety, I think. Yeah. Wow, I'm stressed. Ooh, it smells like flowers.